What's good, y'all, and welcome back to another episode, a special episode of the Hurls and Smallz show. Smallz, last episode, you said you had a trip you went on, and I'm sure the people would love to know how that trip was, man. How you doing?
Did I say that on here? I don't think I ever mentioned that.
You did. You said you were packing for a trip, and you said you had a trip to go on.
I'm pretty sure that was pre-show.
No, How the fuck are you doing, bro? How the fuck are you doing?
Bro, we're 20 seconds in. You dropping the F word already? What the hell's wrong with you,
How are
bro?
you doing, man? Damn.
I'm doing lovely, man. The Heat lost today on a tip-in by Sabonis because Bam just want to stop. I'm about to lead this podcast right now. Bam just want to stop boxing out and let Sabonis tip the ball back in. Tyler Hero is an all-star. He's our only good player. The rest of the team can go to hell. Tyler Hero, love you, bro.
Including Bam. Including Bam.
No, Bam's my favorite player, but he can go to hell right now.
Oh, okay.
Because he's been ass. Hot ass. Not even hot ass. He's been like an ugly Walmart lady ass.
All right.
On the other hand, Ohio State playing right now, and I'm missing that for this little podcast. So
little podcast, like you're not forced to.
And we're not even.
I'll solo dolo the show. I'll ISO the show. You're not forced.
I didn't even mean it. I didn't even mean it.
Podcast.
You on some demon time today, bro?
I'm just
taking everything the wrong way.
Okay, continue.
I didn't even mean it like that. We playing a good team in Texas too. We ain't like Michigan playing the 4th grade blind team down the road. It's like today was a beautiful day because every NBA team played. College basketball back, women's college basketball back. Ohio State play tomorrow. Shout out Cody McMahon. And Monday Night Football is today. Like it was an overtime game, bro.
It was a great game.
Overnight. Oh Lord! Shout out
Tampa
Baker
Mayfield.
Went for 2.
Yeah, Baker did all he could, but Tampa should have went for 2. And they had a couple chances to pick off Mahomes at the end there, and maybe run a play and get into field goal range, and kick a field goal before it heads to overtime. But yeah, they dropped them both. But
how you doing, though, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little tired. Work was tiring today, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. My friends get on me because they say I say the same thing whenever somebody asks me how I'm doing, like Dark and Suze. They get on me like, yeah, can't complain, been better, been worse. They say I say the same thing, but it's just, that's how life is. I just can't complain. I'm doing all right.
Speaking of Dark, shout out our man. He just got 2nd place in fantasy and lost to the best in the league.
You beat him? You beat him? Bro, what? I was looking at it earlier and I was like, wow, Dark is gonna win this. Who won you the week?
K-Dot.
Wow, 166, 151. And Kareem Hunt had 18.9. Yeah, I was like, wow, Dark got this. I was like, Dark is really about to be small. So what? You're moving to 7-2. I did win this week as well. I was almost about to be Grimey's first win of the fucking season. He's 0-8. I was about to be his first win. But
for anybody who's not in the league, he drafted Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen.
And Josh Allen in the first 2 rounds. And we all said right after that happened, Grimey was going to be a bye week, and that's what he's been all season. But
he has Greg Zuerlein at kicker, who is on IR.
I ended up beating him by 2 points because I needed 5 from Bucky Irving. He gave me 6.4. So shout out to Bucky.
You're starting a backup.
You got Justin. He's in my flex spot because Mike Evans is hurt.
That's even worse. You could put anybody in that play.
Once Nick Chubb steps up, he'll step right in there. I have Jordan Addison on the bench too, and I also picked up Brandon Ayuk off the waivers just to get him the ring. So BA, you'll be a champion this season, baby.
So you get him in another loss. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I just happened to play him where the week, Josh Allen puts up 23, Derrick Henry 26, Mike Gesicki put up 27. Like, what the fuck? The Chargers defense had 19. We can get into the show, man. Before we get too deep into the show,
this is your first time. Make
sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, share. One of my former coworkers came into my job yesterday, or not yesterday, a couple of shifts ago. And he was like, I know you wanted to do, work in sports. Have you, been trying to do anything about, to get into that? And I wasn't going to say anything about the podcast. I was like, nah, I'm just, yeah, I want to work in sports, but, when it comes, it comes. He's like, you should start a podcast, just talk about sports. And then I was like, no way he just said this. So I pulled out the phone and I was like, look, I already have one. So he dropped us a sub. So Mir, if you're listening, I appreciate you, Mir. And yeah, I just wanted to shout him out. But like I was saying, show some love. The TikToks are coming back. You know, I was on vacation, so I couldn't drop them.
And Mir, if you see Herlins again, convince him to get a new headset. Because look at this thing, man. Look at this.
A new headset will be coming. Once we hit 100 subs, a new headset I'll buy a new headset. 100 subs equals a new headset. But like, comment, subscribe. Head over to the TikTok, show some love there. But we can get into.
And for anybody who watches our TikToks or is followed over there, we appreciate y'all. And just so y'all know, I like he said, I wasn't here this weekend, so he told me, yeah, I'll clip some out and post it on TikTok.
I said I'll see. I said I'll see. I'll see.
But on top of everything, we're gonna get into our normal segments. We would just like to say that usually we go game by game. We're going to change things up this week. As you can see in the title, we're doing our mid-season awards, but we're also not doing game by game. We got a couple topics that we'll get into before awards, and it's going to kind of lean towards that more and more as the season goes on. Because the Saints do not deserve love.
Absolutely not. And I wanted to come dressed up in like a little, dress shirt, but then I saw Smallz in the Chris Olave jersey, so I just took it off. I was like, wow, he has no spirit. But let's get into the overreactions, baby.
Okay.
Starting off,
he came straight from his work shirt.
I saw my name tag under this.
I know.
But starting off first, my first overreaction. There's a division in the NFC where it looks like any team right now could win it. The NFC West. There's the NFC North that could have a few playoff teams. There's the AFC North that could have a few. But the NFC West is going to be the only division in football with 3 playoff teams. Could be the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Niners, or the Seahawks.
They'll have one.
One.
So 3 in the North, 2 in the
You still
East?
think the North is getting 3?
Yep.
So 1 in the West. And I'm assuming you're sticking with the Cardinals as the 1.
Absolutely.
Bro,
I gotta get a Kyler Murray jersey.
That is crazy.
I might order a Kyler jersey right after this
Kyler
episode,
Murray,
bro.
we can move on to the next one. Kyler Murray has had such an underrated season, and people have not been talking about it enough. For the team he has, for them to be leading the NFC West, Kyler Murray deserves MVP consideration.
So, this is our awards episode, right? And I don't have him top 3, but I had him as an honorable mention to just shout out when we get there, because the defense is atrocious. They're in a division with the Niners, who were in the Super Bowl last year. The Seahawks had a lot of love going into the season. The Rams are young, but they got Matt Stafford, so they're still good. And the Cardinals are competing. It might be crazy to pick them to win the division, but we want them to buy, and they just went out today and got Baron Browning, which I think is a beautiful pickup for just a 6th-round pick. I do believe that Kyler Murray deserves way more love than what he's getting, and he's doing it on both the air and the ground. So I think he had like 180 yards this week, but they beat a good Bears defense, and he didn't need to put up all the stats. He knows what to do when he needs to do it, and it's beautiful. He's finally maturing into the player that everybody wanted him to be. And I'm happy for him.
Absolutely. This one kind of strays away from an overreaction. This is kind of like this or that. So the Ravens, the Chiefs, or Lions are probably the 3 best teams in the league in whatever order you have them at. Ravens, Chiefs, Lions. So are you taking the Ravens, Chiefs, or Lions, or the field to win the Super Bowl? So the Super Bowl winner would be the Ravens, Chiefs, or Lions, or the field. And please don't just let your Ravens bias play into this. Can I get a real answer, please? Oh my goodness. So I know what his answer is. I shouldn't have even brought that. I should have just known.
Nobody's beating Lamar, bro. He's going for 40 touchdowns. He's on pace for 40 passing touchdowns and 1,000 rushing yards. He won MVP last year.
The Eagles,
and it's not
the
even
Bills,
close this
the
year.
Texans, the Packers, the Niners, your Vikings. No, so you're taking one of those 3
Lamar's
teams.
getting his first one.
Yeah.
And if it's not Lamar, it's because he lost in the Super Bowl to the Detroit Lions, and Dan Campbell gets himself one.
Well, that's all I got, bro. That's all I fucking got, bro. Move on to your shit, because I'm so fucking tired of you. I'm tired of... I texted this guy today. He asked me, do you have overreactions today? And I said, is Lamar Jackson the best quarterback in the league? Knowing damn well he thinks he is, but I don't. So I knew he was going to think my answer was fucking yes, but go ahead, man. Go ahead on to your fucking... Your bold prediction recap.
Every preview episode we do, I give Herlin some bold predictions, see what he thinks. And this week was one of my better weeks. My first one was about that low guy over in Carolina, who I have been raving about all season. Raving's not the right word. I have been thinking he should start. They've been disrespecting him too much.
Mm-hmm.
I said that Bryce Young would ball out and lead the Panthers to a win over the Saints. And he didn't ball out, but he had a very good game. Mm-hmm. And the Saints are bad.
Very bad. Very, very, very bad.
So I would give myself a point for that one.
I would say so. I would say so.
All right. Second one was a major miss because holy cow do the Browns absolutely blow. I said that the Chargers would struggle to stop the Cleveland pass attack and lose to the Browns.
Hell no.
And J.K. Dobbins told me to go to hell.
Hell no. Yeah.
You saying hell now or hell no now, but you was kind of in on that one.
I'm saying like hell no, like it was wrong, like it was, but I definitely was kind of in on it, yeah. But yeah, no, not at all. The Browns, you thought they would be able to do something. It looked similar to what they were against the Ravens, but nah, the Chargers weren't. They actually caught the interceptions that Jameis threw this week. So
yeah. Look at this. Word of the day. My penultimate one. Thoughts? I like that.
I like
a skill position player would have 200 plus yards this week. Do you know the results?
Yeah, it didn't happen.
And you're wrong.
Who did it?
Alvin Kamara had 215.
Oh my goodness.
Saquon Barkley had 199.
I know Saquon was close. Just because of his rushing yards. I knew he was close. That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. I didn't know how many Derrick Henry had, but I had no clue Alvin Kamara did it. Shout out to AK, man.
JSN did it too, but he had two big flags calling back.
Yeah, so JSN had like what? Like one...
He had 180. He should have had like 260.
I thought it was like 137. Holy shit.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So you got that one right to it. Okay, you have yourself a week. Man. You're having yourself a week.
And then I'm giving my point this one. I'm 3-1 this week. I don't care what you say. Mm-hmm. I said that Flacco would majorly stink and the Colts would get blown out by the Vikings. And they didn't get blown out because my Sam Darnold was dog shit.
I texted you saying same old Darnold. Same old
And I didn't respond because that's bogus.
And, you know, we're kind of starting to see, they won, but we're kind of starting to see the glimpses.
We're not going down that path.
We're starting to see the glimpses of... We're starting to see the...
Joe Flacco.
Go ahead.
You just hate, man. You a hater. You a certified hater.
Because I'm calling out what I see. This is what I'm here to do. I'm here to...
I didn't come on here and bash Brock Purdy when he was dog shit the other week.
Well, if you did, I wouldn't have said you're a hater. You were just speaking the truth. He had a terrible game against the Chiefs. He was piss poor. I was able to say it. Why aren't you able to say it about your guy? That we're starting.
I did. I literally said Sam Darnold was dog shit.
When I'm starting to say something, why are you just screaming and not allowing me to get it off?
Because you take it too far.
Okay, can I say what I was going to say? And that's what these past few weeks we're starting to see more and more signs of the Sam Darnold of old. I'm not saying he's gonna regress back to that, but we started to see signs of Sam Darnold of old. It's not as good as he was the first 5 weeks or whatever, but as the weeks have gone on, we've seen more and more signs of the Sam Darnold that we always knew. That's all I was gonna say, but you just wanted to jump the gun.
I knew what you were gonna say.
And what's the problem with me saying that?
Because you've been saying it since week 0.
Oh my god! All right, bro. Continue, man. Continue.
Am I wrong? Have you not been saying all season he was going to regress to that?
Continue. We're never going to fucking finish the podcast at this point. Continue, man.
I hope not. Flacco was weak as hell. He was 16 for 29 or 16 for 27 for 179 yards and an interception. His interception was right to Byron Murphy, and yeah, he was 16 for 27, which isn't a terrible completion percentage.
Right to somebody. That went to fucking who was it, Zaire Franklin in the end zone. My goodness. Continue.
You better not let Brock Purdy have a stinker. I'm gonna come on here dancing a little jig. I'm gonna have posters all over the
He already had a stinker. He already had a stinker.
But I'm not a hater in my heart. I enjoy football.
I'm not a hater.
You gonna stop us from getting any promotions in the world because you a hater. You can't enjoy because you a hater.
Continue, man. Continue.
I don't want to talk about this no more. Go ahead. We can get into our pick'ems.
Go ahead. Get into the fucking pick'em review. Go ahead.
And guess who's still winning?
Like, okay, that's fine. What was the score? What was the score this week?
We tied.
Like, what?
We both had 11. Pretty good week from both of us, to be honest. We got what?
11 out of what?
Wrong.
How many?
15.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty decent. That's pretty decent.
And we both got the Texans wrong on Thursday. So really, if you just don't count that, it's 11 out of 14.
The Texans. But speaking of the Texans, you said there were a couple of things you wanted to talk about before we got into awards. I may as well start here since we're already talking about them. The Houston Texans. You know, coming into the season, a lot of people said they could be a team to be contending, you know, out in the AFC. Could be a team to watch for the AFC Championship game. But I'm here to say, I think the Houston Texans are pretenders. I don't think they are contenders. That offensive line is too putrid for them to contend in the AFC. When you have to see Chris Jones in January, the Ravens defense like Justin Madubuike, Kyle Van Noy was really good early in this season. Players like that later in the season, if you have to see them in January, I just don't think their offensive line is going to be able to withstand that. And, you know, they're already dealing with injuries to Stephon Diggs. Yeah, Nico will be back soon. I think next week, actually. But I just don't know. I've been saying all season their offense hasn't really been able to put it together. They had that one game, I forget who it was against, where they put up like 41 points. But their offensive line is just so bad. CJ Stroud was sacked like 8 times on Thursday. So that's one of the teams I wanted to say that I think they are pretenders and won't really be. They're not in that top category when it comes to teams in the AFC.
That's okay. I picked them to win the AFC, and they're 6-3, so it's not like I'm way off. But their line is bad, and they've had bad injury luck, and they need to buy in a little bit defensively. I don't know what they'll end up doing. They're a lock to make the playoffs unless CJ unfortunately would have
next season. I just don't really see them being real competitors this season. I think their season.
I think it all depends on if they can. The trade deadline is tomorrow, so tomorrow's a big day for them. That kind of sucks for this because we're not going to get to talk about all the moves until Thursday.
Patrick Mahomes is going to be traded tomorrow, and we're just not going to be here. Yeah, no, I feel you, but
you probably should have said a slightly smaller name, but
you know what I mean.
The point came across.
You know what I mean, man. Go ahead if you got a team you would like to speak about.
I didn't really do any specific teams, but what I wanted to talk about is coach firings because we got 2 today. We got Antonio Pierce fired 3 of his assistants.
Yeah,
he fired the offensive coordinator. Go ahead.
An overreaction about coach firings, but I feel like I already did something earlier in the season, so I didn't.
He fired offensive coordinator and Luke Getsy, their offensive line coach and James Craig, and their quarterbacks coach and Rich Scangarello.
Yeah.
And this was the staff's first season like together. That Antonio Pierce got hired last season. He brought his guys in, and firing 3 after a 5-game losing streak isn't the best image on him. I believe that it's trying to like spark a little bit because he's trying to save his own job. I don't think Antonio Pierce makes it past this season.
I don't think so.
Also, this team right here, which I only wore this jersey for anybody curious. Prayers up to Chris Olave. The Saints are dog shit.
I told them before we started, I don't know if that's a team you want to be repping today, but yeah.
And I said I want to talk about Michael Thomas. Other coach fired was Dennis Allen. Finally, he should have been gone a while ago. He is an absolute moron.
We're watching the clock on Doug Peterson. We're waiting. We're
he's
counting
the next
down
one.
the minutes.
He's the next one.
We're counting down the minutes till he's fired.
He should literally not be there after tomorrow. I want to wake up in the morning and with a notification that Doug Peterson's gone because there's no reason for him to be there. Their season's over.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Saints need to accept being bad for the next several years.
Yep, that's what I was saying last episode. Yes, yep.
Their cap situation is unacceptable. You got to just bite the bullet at some point. Taysom Hill has an $18 million cap hit for next season. Taysom Hill, which, by the way, he pisses me the hell off because there's no reason Alvin Kamara had 215 yards with 0 touchdowns. That's just disrespectful at some point, dog. Like, he's not doing anything until the red zone. Like, get.
But no, yeah, I feel you on that because I was saying last episode the Saints are always a team that just want to be respectable at least, if not competing in the NFC, at least in trying to win their division. But they just have to accept and just be willing to just rebuild, just tear everything down and build it back up. Because there's no reason why Marshawn Lattimore, Tyrann Matthew should still be on this team past tomorrow. There's just no reason to. You can get decent value. You can get decent value back for them. And I saw a report earlier that there was a lot of buzz around Marshawn Lattimore. Yep. So if teams are willing to give you something for Marshawn, take the best offer, take the best package, and get what you can get.
That buzz came out a little bit before Dennis Allen got fired, so maybe the front office was working. Maybe it was true.
Please.
As you said, Doug Peterson already got fired. Mike McCarthy, in my opinion, shouldn't make it past this season. And then guys like Jared Mayo, Brian Callahan, Dave Canales, they're all first-year coaches who are already receiving some pushback, which don't really know.
I think all should be
how that'll end up.
I think all should be the head coaches going into the next season.
I do too, but and then the next tier is like Mike McDaniel, Kevin Stefanski, and Brian Dable, who I believe are all solid coaches, but I don't know if you really want to build with them.
Mike McDaniel got his extension this offseason, so I don't think he's going anywhere. Brian Dable shouldn't go anywhere, and neither should Kevin Stefanski.
No, I've said that all season. I love Brian Dable. Yeah. But a big reason why I wanted to mention this and talk a little bit of it is because since we started this podcast, and I'm locked in on this shit. I love this shit, Hairless. Since we started this and going forward, I'm going to try to learn all of the coordinators. I have a good idea of like the good teams right now, but I want to know them better. And when Christian Gonzalez came out with the quote about Bill Belichick and like how coaching trees matter and everything, I just like when Dave Canales got hired, I liked him because he was coming from over here, and that type of situation. I want to just know more of the intricacies of coaching. You feel? But that's all I got. You can get into your next segment.
You mentioned them slightly. Their head coach, Mike McCarthy, man. The Cowboys. I've been saying since literally we started, the Cowboys and Jerry Jones said, we are all in. We are all in. All in. Mike McCarthy
on decent too.
Mike McCarthy on a contract year. You paid Dak Prescott 5 minutes before he ran onto the field. You paid CeeDee Lamb a week before the first game. You need to pay Micah Parsons this offseason. All in. You said we're running it back with this team. When you had Derrick Henry in free agency, you said, nah, we're good. We don't need to give him that $8 million that he got. You had Saquon Barkley in free agency. You said, no, we're good. We're going to let him go to our division rival in the Philadelphia Eagles. And you had Tony Pollard. You said, no, we can find an upgrade in free agency at running back. He wasn't a game changer for us. And now he's doing his thing over in Tennessee. But they saw some guy that they had flourishing for them back in 2016, 17, 18. They saw some guy in New England ever. And they brought him back expecting him to be just a culture change over there, for him to bring some juice to the backfield. And now he's missing games, but with mutually missing games. They're both agreeing, saying, yeah, I'm not going to show up and we don't want you to show up.
It's a healthy scratch. So
for the Cowboys to say they're all in, and I'm kind of spoiling this, but they were at the top of my list for the most disappointing teams this season. For Jerry Jones to say you're all in, for you to literally do nothing in free agency, not a damn thing, run it back with this, if not a worse team. This offensive line with 2 rookies that are showing exactly why they're rookies. This is not the Cowboys offensive line of 5 years ago where it was the best in the league. This is
starting a center.
This is a bad offense.
Not even a center.
This is a bad offensive line that cannot protect their quarterback, cannot get going in the run game. This team is just not good, and for what they were expected to be this season. And I know it's the thing with Cowboys fans and Cowboys, just Cowboys in general, that it's their year. Oh, this is our year. This is our year. The Cowboys are winning it this year. But my goodness, at least they're competitive in the regular season. They win 12 games, and they get to the playoffs, then disappoint. But this is not even a playoff team. And now Dak is hurt? This is just a season from hell for the Cowboys. And I know you're dying because my headset's flying around, but this is such a disappointing. It's such a disappointing season from the Cowboys. Jerry Jones, please. You're 82 years old. I think I looked it up the other day. You're 82 years old. Go enjoy the rest of your life. Stop worrying about football. The entire Jones family needs to be stripped away from the Cowboys. I know he has his son working in the organization. I think his wife or daughter, something like that. Mike McCarthy needs to be gone. You need to start fresh there. And this is just such a disappointing season from the Cowboys, man. It really is. My biggest disappointment this season.
So obviously they can't blow it up, right? Like you said, they just re-signed Dak. You just re-signed.
And you're not going to trade Micah. You just are not going to trade Micah.
So Dak hurt his hand in this game, and then he has a serious hamstring injury at the same time. They said that it's looking. Yeah, worse than week to week. Like, it'll be a couple at least. Maybe even go on IR.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see him on the sideline saying, we fucking suck?
Yep. Yep.
Cooper Rush, when he was a starter for a little stint, went like 5-1 or something like that a couple years ago. Do you go to Cooper Rush, or do you just kind of chalk this season a little bit and go to your boy?
It's not even chalking the season. You go to Trey Lance, it's a win-win. If he's good, you know Trey Lance is good. Maybe he'll keep the boat steady until Dak is back and you can sneak it as a 7 seed. If he's bad, you're in the top 5 draft. You're in the top 5, the top 10. You do not go to Cooper Rush, because if this was a team that was good, if this was a Cowboys team last year or the year before, then you go to Cooper Rush, because he's a quarterback that can, win 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5. We've seen him do it before. Keep the ship steady until the starter's back, and the starter just pops right back in. But this is not the same team. This is not a good team. If Cooper Rush goes in, it's not like he's gonna just the Cowboys for the next 5 games or whenever Dak is out. He's gonna go over 500, and Dak's gonna be able to come in and get this team into the playoffs. This is not a good team that you're gonna drop Cooper Rush into. So just go with Trey Lance. Since it's not a great team, just go with Trey Lance. If he's good, maybe he can keep you afloat, and Dak can make the playoff push later. If he's bad, you're in the top 10, you're in the top 5, and you can draft a good guy that for cheap, because you can't do it in the offseason, it seems like. Yeah, I think you have to go with Trey Lance here. It's just a win-win.
All right.
And you also know what you have in you know what you have in Trey Lance, and it's not because he's gonna take Dak's spot. It's not because, well, if he plays and plays well, it's not like he's gonna take Dak's spot, but there will be a team or two calling in the offseason that'll take a flyer on Trey Lance, and you can just get back what you gave up for him. So play Trey Lance. It doesn't make any sense not to.
My next topic is that the NFL is giving up on players too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's
please don't tell
young
me
quarterbacks.
Michael Thomas comes in.
No, I was gonna have one of these as the Saints, but I kind of just talked about it for the last one. Shout out. You shouldn't even said his name. Shout out Chris Olave. He got Michael Thomas on a rant. Derek Carr, you suck. You almost killed Olave and Jawan Johnson this game. Michael Thomas, I love you, bro. I need you back in the league. Even Chris Olave's brother was like, ain't no reason to go back to NOLA because they a shit show. Anyways, NFL giving up on players too quickly. You see it with these young quarterbacks, whether it's Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, and Aiden O'Connell looked solid last year and then just gets benched for a Gardner this year. These veteran quarterbacks are veterans that are bouncing around for a reason. They're not guys that you should start and just give up on your 4th overall pick or your 1st overall pick. It's getting a little embarrassing at this point, because what were the Panthers expecting, and what are the Colts expecting? Yeah. What are the Titans expecting? Like,
I kind of think the league has it opposite, where it's like they'll go to the older guy and make them their starter, and the young guy will be the backup. When I think it should honestly be the opposite, because you see it, like, backup quarterbacks are more valued than they ever are before. Because if the Dolphins had a good backup quarterback, they would be in the playoff hunt fighting for that division until Tua comes back and he can do the rest. You seen it with the Niners. We went through 4 quarterbacks in that NFC Championship run against the Eagles, and we just had Christian McCaffrey in wildcat formation every play because all of our quarterbacks were hurt. You just need a good backup quarterback in this league at this point. And I think teams are trying to make the old vet guy their guy to see, we have this good team. Can we prop him in and make him look better than what he is because we have all these weapons around him? So that, like, I had something about the Colts and Joe Flacco, but just like that, it's like stick with your young guy. And then if something happens, you have the older guy, the veteran that can play for those 2 games and then be all right. But if you have the young guy, he's not going to be able to come in for 2 games and just look good. He's going to need time to develop. He needs the season.
Yes.
The veteran doesn't need the season. He can come in and he knows the playbook. He knows what to do. He's been here before. He can come in for 2 games and go right back to the bench. But if a young guy comes in and goes right back to the bench, nothing was gained for him. Not a thing.
You need reps.
Not a thing.
And I know I'm a Vikings fan, so I'm a little biased, but I think they're in the perfect situation, dude. You get to see Sam Darnold this year, what he has, and Sam Darnold has looked very competent. And you have J.J. McCarthy, who has been all in this season. He's bought in. Anytime you see J.J., he's trying to learn as much as possible. He's watching as much as possible. And I'm an Ohio State fan, so I hate Michigan, so I didn't like that we drafted him. But I can't help but like the guy so far. And whether or not he'll be good in the NFL, I don't know. But I think that they have played it perfectly. And yeah, they didn't have a chance because JJ got hurt, but sometimes it works like that. Mm-hmm. Media-wise, with receivers, I believe they're also giving up too quickly. But whether it's guys like Devontae Smith, is just absolutely incredible and doesn't get the love he deserves. JSN people were saying that's not a first-round pick. Why did we draft him so high? Mm-hmm. Guys like Jonathan Mingo have been completely written off already for a second-round pick. Quentin Johnston, his rookie year, they were saying move on. And Quentin Johnston's looked good this year.
He was bad his rookie year, but he definitely has looked good.
But that's my point. It's a rookie year. You got to let guys grow. He was 21 years old. Mm-hmm. Cedric Tillman is proving you. He didn't do a damn thing his rookie year, and he's looking good in his second year. You have sophomore jumps, and most of the time. Jahan Dotson and Traylon Burks are 2 guys that you don't hear anything from anymore. They've been completely written off, and they were drafted in the first round 2 years ago, Erlins. 2 years. And that's crazy.
Yeah, Traylon Burks was supposed to be the A.J. Brown replacement. You trade A.J. Brown, and Traylon Burks was supposed to be your guy.
And he was decent, but he got hurt and just never had a chance after that. You go get D-Hop and you go get Calvin Ridley, and he just gets pushed to the side, and I don't really understand it. And my last point with this is that running backs get their prime years, and once they turn like 27, it's the 27 club in the NFL. You just get pushed to the side. And elite guys like Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry and Saquon and Aaron Jones we're all just told to go find a new home this offseason.
We can replace you. We can find a young running back in the 6th round, because that's what it is. You find a running back in the 6th round. We have a decent offensive line. He can put up numbers. But we were talking about it earlier. I forget which episode, but episodes back, we talked about Derrick Henry changing the mold for that. All these running backs finding new homes, and they're all balling. Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, Saquon, Aaron Jones, they're all balling in these new places. So yeah, I'm glad to see the running backs, having a resurgence, and hopefully this means they can get those long-term deals and, not say, oh, running backs are just dead after 30.
They treat them like throwaways once they get to a certain age, and like you said, they just go for these late-round running backs, and guys like Isaiah Pacheco have murdered the running back position, and guys like Tyrone Tracy are going to continue to pop in certain situations. But when you have a Derrick or a Saquon, pay them the couple extra million. Yeah, we want to see the Saints blow it up, but what they just did with Kamara is beautiful. I wanted to see him somewhere else badly, but he's been your guy, and he's New Orleans through and through.
Yeah, and it's definitely because of you see Kyle Shanahan and what his dad was able to do, Mike Shanahan. They're gonna make any running back look good. It doesn't matter who it is. Not to say Jordan Mason isn't talented and wouldn't put up numbers anywhere else, or Christian McCaffrey isn't. But any running back you drop into that system, he can have them, getting 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry. He can have any running back looking good. So I guess that's kind of why teams are saying, we can just go draft a guy in the 6th and scheme up together. Not everybody's Kyle Shanahan. Exactly. So pay those running backs, because you see what Derrick Henry's doing right now, fucking 1,000 yards halfway through the season.
Like you said, Jerry Jones said they were going all in this year, and if they would have just gone and paid one of those guys, their season would be tremendously different. Yeah. But instead, they try to bargain and go the no running back route, like they're playing fantasy football instead of National Football League, and it's not working out for them. They're not the Kansas City Chiefs, who can say, man, Pacheco got hurt. Let's just call Kareem Hunt and give him like 27 touches a game.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for them, that's working out. But I don't like. You can't say that the league needs expansion because there's not enough linemen on either side of the ball to do so. But it's killing the skill positions.
Mm-hmm.
It's killing skill positions, especially on the offensive side. Not everybody wants to play defense, but I don't know. Go ahead and move on to your next one.
My last thing I want to talk about was the Colts benching Anthony Richardson. You just got to feel like the biggest idiots after Sunday. You just have to, and they're not going back to Flacco. I mean, not going back to Anthony Richardson. I just don't think. I just don't think you're just not in the place to either. Even if you didn't say Flacco's our guy moving forward, you can't just fucking say, Flacco is our guy for this week. He plays bad. Oh, no, actually, we're going back to Anthony Richardson. You can't do it. So now you're forced to play Flacco when I will say Flacco didn't really get sacked much until like that final drive. But you saw his fingerprints all over this game. Jonathan Taylor was not able to get anything going on the ground because they don't have to worry about Joe Flacco moving in the pocket. So they know if Joe Flacco's handing it off, he's not about to tuck it and run. But if it's Anthony Richardson, the read option is there and it's open. You have an edge rusher who has to decide whether he's going to go after Anthony Richardson or whether he's going to go after Jonathan Taylor. But if it's Joe Flacco handing it to Jonathan Taylor, he has no reason to go bum rush Joe Flacco. He's not getting anywhere. So you saw Joe Flacco's fingerprints all over this game, and not to say that Joe Flacco was just horrid or he's not good, but what they expected... He's not
the move.
He's not. What they expected from him is just not what you're going to get with Joe Flacco, especially on this team. It's just not going to work. You want this team to be predicated around Jonathan Taylor, but Jonathan Taylor isn't going to thrive if Anthony Richardson isn't his guy. You can't have a 40-year-old Joe Flacco, a statue back there, and expect Jonathan Taylor to be able to do whatever he wants in that run game when no one has to worry about a read option, a quarterback keeper, nothing like that. So yeah, I mean, Joe Flacco is just forcing. So like, there are so many replays where it's like Jonathan Taylor's throwing his hands up, open in the flat, but Joe Flacco's eyes are just down the field trying to make something happen, and he threw so many interceptions just into and so many throws into just tight windows, trying to force something that's not there when you have Jonathan Taylor open out of the backfield. So many times there's just a replay of somebody waving their hands wide open, like 5 yards out of the line of scrimmage, but Joe Flacco's eyes are just down the field.
And that's been my point all season, man. I know early, and I'm glad you've changed your mind. You were a start Flacco guy, but I never wanted.
They were all my they were always on my overreaction.
Anyways, I never meant to disrespect Joe Flacco, but it was just not. You're not the Cleveland Browns, where you have one of the best defenses in football. You have a Nick Chubb before injury. You have. All this talent, and you just need a quarterback to plug and play. You're the Colts, who haven't been good since Andrew Luck. You started Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz and guys that just got thrown away for years, and
exactly,
you have a guy that has Superman potential, and you just want to throw him away for 39
like they tried. Let's see, you would think they would have learned. They tried the vets. They like you said, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. They had Jacoby Brissett too. They had Phillip Rivers. So many vets that, you know what, they didn't work over there. Let's bring them over here. Now you finally draft your guy 4th overall and you give up on him after a season, not even a season's worth of games, 10 games, and you give up on him after you've gone through this veteran quarterback carousel. Like I said, Rivers, Ryan, Brissett, and now you're doing it with Flacco. It doesn't make any sense. And Carson Wentz, it doesn't make any sense to go to Joe Flacco.
I'm sure this will hurt Shane Steichen's look in the league, but I refuse to believe that this was his decision. He said that quarterbacks need reps to improve. I think this was 100% on Jim Irsay. How many starts does Anthony Richardson have his whole lifetime? Like college and NFL combined, it's like 25 maximum. He has less starts than Cam Ward. He has less starts than Will Howard. Will Howard just beat Penn State in a close game. Penn State hasn't been good since Saquon. It's embarrassing, man. I think it's so embarrassing for Indianapolis. You weren't winning the Super Bowl. You weren't winning your division. And
if Joe Flacco made you a contender, then maybe I would get it. And this is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, where it's like, Joe Flacco's the guy. He comes in for a couple of games to say if Anthony Richardson gets hurt, like he did, like exactly what Joe Flacco did earlier in the season. Anthony Richardson got hurt. Flacco came in, looked great. Okay, you're back to the bench, Flacco. Anthony Richardson's our guy. That's exactly how it should be when you have a veteran quarterback. He should not be the one playing. He should be the one that comes in every now and then if needed, like your quarterback gets hurt or something like that. But yeah. And I'm never a fan of benching a quarterback so early on, unless it's like, okay, he's throwing fucking 4 interceptions a game. He's just losing us the game. But if he's bad, you just have to just live through the fight, the growing pains. Unless you're a team that's ready to win. That's why when I realized Trey Lance wasn't our guy, and I was like, I get it. I love Trey Lance. I still think he can be a good quarterback, but I get it. He needs time to develop. We just didn't have that. Our Super Bowl window was this next 3 years, so we can't give Trey Lance 2 years to develop. Then he's ready to be a starting quarterback. Brock Purdy was Trey Lance's ceiling was is definitely higher, but Brock Purdy's floor was, a lot higher than Trey's was. So you just had to go with Brock or Jimmy because Trey just needed time to develop. So if you're not a Super Bowl caliber team or a team that's, knocking on the window, I just don't see any reason for you not to play your young guy.
I will always be in the team of play the young guy. I'm not a Trey Lance guy like you, but I think the Cowboys should play him. The only over time Dak? That I have been like
over Dak or just
now.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, whoa.
The only time I was like in the party of this guy very stinks, just go ahead and move on because you have a talented team, was I fully understood when the Steelers wanted to move on from Kenny Pickett. They gave him time.
Yes.
They wanted him to be their guy.
Yes.
And he just wasn't.
And
he
was upside of Russell
bad.
Wilson, if you like you're getting now, if you got Russell Wilson of old, this team is ready to win. They have the defense. They're ready to compete in the AFC. So I understood Kenny Pickett because he was just fine.
Mac Jones.
But they were kind of winning in spite of Kenny Pickett at times. Like he was just good enough.
And these are guys who are like they're good enough to be backups, and they continue to learn as backups. Like I think Kenny Pickett and Mac Jones will both be guys.
We'll get another shot somewhere one day. He'll get another shot somewhere one day. I think.
I don't know about
whether knock on wood, Jalen Hurts gets hurt, and he'll come in for a game, and maybe somebody brings him in to compete for a quarterback spot in the offseason in training camp, something like that. So I think he'll get another shot somewhere to compete one day. These guys like I see what you mean.
I think if Davis Mills isn't getting another shot and he's okay with being a backup.
I liked Davis Mills so much when he was playing. I loved him so much. I was like, yo, this guy can play. This guy can play. Like I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago with Jarrett Stidham. I think Jarrett Stidham with the Broncos, I think he's a starting level quarterback somewhere. I know he is. And he had a quote about it when they made Bo Nix the starter. He said, I know I can be a starter somewhere, but I just got to go with whatever the team says. And I promise you, Jarrett Stidham can be a starter somewhere, man. He should be back with the Raiders because he would be the starter over there and be playing really well.
There's a lot of talent at quarterback, man. For the Dolphins to have like tanked as much as and I like Tyler Huntley, so I'm not shitting on him, but guys like Tyson Bagent, guys like
you had Zach Wilson. I just mentioned I just said he could be a starter, and I'm forgetting Jarrett Stidham, Joe Flacco. You had Russell Wilson before, but it looks like the Steelers always wanted Russ to be their guy, so I guess that wasn't on the table. But there were guys out there that they weren't gonna turn your season around, and you know what? That's our guy now. Tua, you're gone. But they would just, you would go 500. You would go, say Tua was out 5 games. Maybe they could lead you to 2-3, 3-2. But you stuck with Tim Boyle and Tyler Huntley. Yeah.
Skylar Thompson.
Bunt.
His ass stink.
That's all I got as far as
the last thing I just want to briefly mention. I already said Baron Browning got traded. Shout out him, former Buckeye. The Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus, your job might be on the hot seat.
Cliff Kingsbury, but I'm call Cliff Kingsbury and Ben Johnson should be at the front of the line.
Ben Johnson is the guy I wanted to talk to you about. I don't want this episode's going to be fucking 4 hours long.
That's what I was saying.
But Ben Johnson is a guy who I asked my brother this yesterday. He's a coordinator who isn't like he gets so much love all around the league. The Lions love him. If the Lions give him a bag, do you accept it? Like if you're Ben Johnson, do you accept it?
I think
or do you want to test your waters?
I think 99% of the time you take the head coaching job because the offensive coordinator job will be there for him once he's done head coaching.
Yeah. Whether
he looks terrible or not, it'll be there for him. But the head coaching job may not always be there for him or the ideal spot. So if it's like the Bears if they fire Matt Eberflus this offseason, I think he has to jump on that. because you're just not going to get a young quarterback, a young ascending quarterback.
The
weapons are there. The Jags, he has to. But if it's a team that just has no weapons,
it's like the Raiders or the Saints.
Exactly, he should just stay with the Lions. But if it's a team that looks like they have a bright future, I think you have to jump on that. So I would if I.
That's kind of what he told me. It was like it depends on who the coordinator is. If it's like a Spagnuolo or a Brian Flores who had their chance and kind of weren't meant to be head coaches, then I would just say the coordinator.
You have to just take the one chance. You just have to see what you can do as a head coach. You have to.
Ben Johnson is elite though, man, and I can't think of his name right now, but the guy that's the DC over there in Detroit, he should go back to New Orleans and coach for them.
Make me look it up now. But
Aaron Glenn.
Okay. But is that all you wanted to talk about, or did you have something else?
I just and I meant to talk about went on a tangent.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, he's kind of. I don't know what's going on with DJ Moore this season, but he had a good little quote in an interview about Eberflus. He said that he doesn't believe he's losing in the locker room, which isn't a lot of confidence behind him, but a good little emotion. So
you see that play of him walking off the field?
Walking off the field.
Mid-play, yeah. But it was just kind of like he had already stepped out of bounds, so he was just walking off. Because
Hunter Henry did the same thing in the end zone and got praised for it.
Yeah, they almost won them the game. Yeah, they went on and scored, and they almost won. But we can get into
Patriots, y'all should be ashamed losing to that bum-ass roster. We can get into our awards, though.
We can get into the bulk of this episode, what you guys came here for, our mid-season awards. Most times you leave MVP till the end, but I honestly think we should start here. Because I think, I don't...
Most valuable. Do you want to mention who we predicted? If you remember yours?
Sure.
So going into the season, I predicted Josh Allen and CJ Stroud. Those were my two top guys.
I had Josh Allen. No, I had Joe Burrow, then Josh Allen.
And right now, it's not even close. Me and you should both have the top guy.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is running away with it.
Baby.
Lamar Jackson has 2,379 yards passing on a 68% completion percentage, on 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, with a very small interception possible percentage, with 500 rushing yards. He won MVP last year, and his play this year is blowing last year out of the water. And the crazy thing is, I don't think he gives a damn about the regular season.
He shouldn't.
Lamar.
He shouldn't. Coming into the season, I was saying I hope he doesn't give a damn about the MVP in regular season. But it looks like him not giving a fuck doesn't matter. He's gonna win it regardless without trying, which is it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, my honorable mentions, I obviously had Lamar at 1, and then number 2 I had Josh Allen, number 3 I had Jared Goff.
Number 1, I had Lamar. Number 2, I had Joe Burrow. And number 3, I had Josh Allen.
I had Joe Burrow in consideration for Offensive Play of the Year because Joe Burrow's playing out of his mind. He has 2 games with 5 passing touchdowns. He's on pace for 40+. He's playing out of his mind, but the team just isn't good enough for me to have him in the MVP conversation. It's just not.
He has
not in the top 3.
150 less yards than Lamar Jackson with a better completion percentage, with the same amount of touchdowns and 2 more interceptions. No,
Joe Burrow is playing an amazing football. If the Bengals were as good as the Ravens, or is just up there with those other teams, I think he would be my MVP right now. That's how good he's playing, but the team just is not good enough for me to have him in the top 3. If I did 4 and 5, maybe he would be there, but he like I said, the team's just not good enough.
And they have a couple games where they were in it the whole time and just kind of fell apart at the end. And if they pull those out or they upset that team, I think that it's consensus that he's in here. And I think that he's playing better than Jared Goff. Yeah, the Lions are.
I think he is. Yeah.
The Lions have 1 loss, but if you give Joe Burrow that Lions team, holy cow.
Yeah. I definitely do think he is playing better than Jared Goff, but that's not to say Jared Goff has been bad. It's just he just hasn't been asked to do much because they're just mopping the floor with teams.
But I also don't believe he will ever be asked to do too much because
that backfield is insane.
One of those guys.
Yeah. Moving on.
And as I said earlier, I wanted to shout out Kyler Murray because he has been very, very good.
I think if I did a 4 and 5, it would have been Kyler and Joe Burrow.
Damn.
Yeah. Moving on, we can get into Offensive Player of the Year. Another one where I don't think there's much of a case. Early on, through the first 3 weeks, I think it was back and forth. But right now, it should be no one else but Derrick Henry.
It's easily J.K. Whoa.
Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. He's already at 1,000 yards.
Coming into the season, I predicted Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor. You predicted Bijan and I don't remember. You predicted Bijan as well, though.
Yeah, I have no clue.
But it's easily Derrick Henry. He's got 1,000 yards with 11 touchdowns and then like 100 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. It's not close. They have the MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. And Kyle Van Noy, he's not in my top 3, but he could be up there for at least considerations. He's probably all pro.
Oh, I found it.
Kyle Hamilton is always top.
I had Bijan, Gibbs, and Tyreek Hill for my
Gibbs. You did have Gibbs. Yeah. But second, I have Saquon, who has been almost as good as Derek.
Yep.
He's not Derek, but he has 925 yards on 157 attempts, 6 touchdowns with 20 receptions on 150 receiving yards, so 8 total touchdowns. And then third, I have the best receiver in football by a large margin, in my opinion, in Justin Jefferson.
This is where I put Joe Burrow. Because I couldn't put him in MVP, so I said, you know what, I'll give Joe Burrow some love for Offensive Player of the Year.
Fair enough. DPOY.
DPOY. So, prior to the season, my 1, 2, and 3 was Micah, Nick Bosa, and TJ Watt in that order. So, my first honorable mention for DPOY, I've been saying his name a lot earlier in the season, Fred Warner. I think he's comfortably in the top 3. I think the top 3 will probably be the same. But yeah, I have number 3, Fred Warner.
We won't.
Number 2, I have TJ Watt, because what he's been able to do for these past few years.
You got Sexy Dexy 1?
I have Dexter Lawrence at number 1. He's so underrated. He leads the league in sacks as a defensive tackle. What he's doing for that Giants defensive line, keeping them in games at times when that offense has been putrid. You know, like what they did against gave them a chance against the Bengals. And Dexter Lawrence has not been talked about at all, but he is playing his ass off. Him and Brian Burns over there. I just wanted to give him the nod. Dexter Lawrence is my DPOY.
And it sucks Kayvon Thibodeau got hurt because that defensive line was just so talented. I have TJ Watt as my winner. I think that he's going to win the award because the Steelers will be inevitably better than the Giants. I'm glad you gave Dexy the love. At number 3, I knew you wouldn't have him, and I also knew you wouldn't have a secondary player, so I wanted to give some secondary love. I got Xavier McKinney. He's been phenomenal. He has 6 interceptions in 9 games. He has 26 total tackles. He has 42 combined tackles. He's been a pillar for the Green Bay Packers defense as a guy who was thrown away by the Giants. If the Giants keep him and they still have Sexy Dexy with Kayvon and Brian Burns, it might be a different story. But obviously, when you're paying Daniel Jones that much money, you can't keep everybody defensively, which is a downfall of having a quarterback who you think is that guy.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we all see now that he's not that guy.
Yeah.
But I had TJ Dex and Xavier McKinney. We can move on to the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. Prior to the season, I had number 1, Caleb, number 2, Marvin Harrison, and number 3, Malik Neighbors. Number 1,
I only did 2. I did Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors preseason, but I literally said in it, I said it's going to be a quarterback award. I just didn't want to give it to him, and it's a quarterback award. It's
Jaden.
In my opinion, it's clearly Jaden Daniels.
He could not play another game, and I think he would get it. No matter what anyone else does, I think if he stopped playing today, he would get the award.
I think that's insane to say, but
I don't think it is.
Jaden Daniels has 1,945 yards with 72% completion on 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions with 460 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm sure we both have Caleb.
No.
Well, you're bogus. Caleb has 1,665 with 61 completion percentage. His completion percentage is kind of crazy. Yeah. I wish it was higher. But he has 3 more interceptions than Jaden, same amount of touchdowns with over 200 rushing yards. I don't know how you don't have him second. I'm sorry, but you said you have it would be TJ?
BTJ, yeah. And I don't have a number 3 either, because number 3 I have Brock Bowers.
I have Brock Bowers number 3.
I have Caleb at number 4. I had Jaden, BTJ, Brock Bowers. Wanted to show some love. Like you said, it was going to go. It's always a quarterback.
That's a quarterback.
Quarterback awards, yeah. So I just showed them up to some other guys.
But shout out Marvin Harrison. Shout out Romo Duze. Shout out Tyrone Tracy.
I think if he didn't get healthy and stop that momentum he was on, I think he could have been in this conversation a lot. But like for that 2 to 3 week stretch, he was right there with Jaden.
Drake May.
Yeah, Drake May. I thought about Bo Nix, but it just wasn't enough.
I didn't think about Bo Nix.
It wasn't enough for me to put any of them in the top 3.
And defensive rookie of the year.
I told you before we started recording, I put one name down. I didn't have any.
It's not a fun award. It's one that I should have been able to predict, and you did predict it. I'm a little bit bogus. My predictions were Chop Robinson and Kool-Aid McKinstry, and I think that once they
Kool-Aid's felt like has been on fucking inactive every fucking week.
As they should trade Marshawn Lattimore to the Washington Commanders, I think Kool-Aid will step in and be better. Chop Robinson was a major miss. That's like picking Anthony Bennett. Damn.
Yeah, early season I had Jared and Latu.
Yeah. And it's Jared and Latu.
Yeah. Obviously, my winner was Jared. Yeah.
I also wanted to give Kamari Lassiter some love. As I said, I like secondary, so he's been decent over there in Houston. And Will Anderson should have gotten some love from us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's been amazing.
Coach of the year. This one I think we're going to disagree on.
I also think we will disagree on.
Yeah.
Because you're going to say, Kyle Shanahan.
I've been fucking hating on Kyle Shanahan all... You know what? Prior to the season, I had Dan Campbell as my winner, Matt LaFleur and Sean McVay as my honorable mentions. Number 3...
D'Amico Ryans and John Harbaugh. Motherfucker, if you go one more time without letting me saying who I put, I had D'Amico Ryans and John Harbaugh. Number 3, who'd you have?
I had Dan Quinn. The culture he's instilled in Washington, the way he has that defense playing a team that a lot of people thought was going to be offense predicated.
I have him first.
Their defense has been balling, so has surprised a lot of people. And number 2, I have who I think is coaching the best team in football, the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell. Number 1, I kind of mentioned it last episode. And I think I said he was my winner preseason, or it could have been, I don't fucking remember what I put. But I mentioned him last episode for the job he did when his starting quarterback was out those past couple of games. It looks kind of bad now that I'm picking him after he lost to Dan Campbell this past weekend, but I have Matt LaFleur. I just feel like the job he did when Jordan Love was out, the game plan he was able to put together for Malik Willis and have Malik Willis looking solid, playing around that quick passing game.
Damn.
Go back. I forget. It might be our 3rd podcast. In the comments, I said I caught a cramp at like 55 minutes or whatever, but I didn't do anything. I'm a true superstar is what I put in the comments. And now this guy catches a cramp and now cramp. But when I caught the cramp, I went like and then I just started wincing and just kept it moving. See, I just keep it pushing. But this guy stops the whole floor of the show.
Shout out Russ. It's a song by Russ.
All right, man. But like I said, my winner is Matt LaFleur for the job he was able to do in Green Bay when his starting quarterback was out. That's what really put him over the edge for me.
You bogus as hell for ooh, cramp. I hate you so much. At number 1, I had Dan Quinn. At number 2, I had Dan Campbell. And at number 3, I have a bogus ass bozo who benched Justin Fields and Mike Tomlin.
Fair. So, that crazy voice crack.
Instant karma. Instant karma for making fun of me for cramping. I'm so glad somebody clip that.
We had some disappointing teams and disappointing players. I'll start with my disappointing teams. I had 4 of them. I had the New York Jets, obviously. They came in with such high expectations. Aaron Rodgers back off of his Achilles. Garrett Wilson's going to be that guy. He's been playing well. The run game would be looking decent. Breece Hall has not been what we expected. They fired their coach. We're 2-6. They won this past Thursday, so now they're 3-6. But just you expected them to be competing at least in the division, but they're not competing at all. Number 2, I had the Niners. I think we have been injured, but I just don't think that's an excuse for us. We've lost to injured teams like the Rams when they didn't have their 2 starting wide receivers. We lost to teams like the Cardinals. We lost to the Vikings. And it's just in the fashion. It's in the fashion we're losing these games. Losses are going to happen, but it's kind of in the fashion we're losing these games. Number 3, I had the Jags. Not to say that they were going to be such Super Bowl contenders, but to start 0-4, you're 2 and whatever now, 2-7, 2-6. This is a terrible look. You expected Trevor Lawrence, not that he's been awful or bad by any means. He's been good, but you expected Trevor Lawrence to take this leap into stardom. You expected more out of Doug Peterson coming, like when that year in 2022 when you come back against the Chargers, you expect to build off of that, but they just gone in the opposite direction. So I have the Jags here, and at number 4, I talked about them earlier. It's the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're the most disappointing team in the NFL this season.
So the Jaguars are in a weird position because I think that we both coming into the season said that this is a year where you want to see where Trevor Lawrence is at, whether he's in the upper echelon,
yes,
or if he's just one of those guys.
And I still don't know.
That's my point. I don't think you found out anything because the team is so ass, your coach is so ass, and Trevor's looked good. So like, if you gave him something, can he be up here, or is he just always here? Because we know he's not down here.
It's exactly. It's not to say whether Trevor is going to be great or bad. The floor is at him being a good starting level quarterback. He can already be that. That's what his floor is, I think, right now. But can he be what he was thought to be coming into the draft? Since his first time he stepped into college football, he was supposed to be the next generational guy. Everybody should be gunning for him. You want him to change your franchise. So can he be that guy? Can he be that top 5 quarterback one day? One of the guys we're calling one of the best in the league, or is he just gonna be that good starting quarterback? And like I said, we did talk about it literally the first episode, and we still don't know 9 weeks into the season.
They're an embarrassment.
Yeah,
and I had them. I didn't even rank them. I had them as 1.
Yeah,
I had the Jets as 1, and then the team that I can't say I'm most disappointed in because they didn't really have any expectations. But I feel like every week coming in until last week because they pissed me off. It's like, they might be the upset this week. They might give you a little run.
Yeah,
I had the New York Giants. They have a coach in Brian Dable who is so good. That just he's not getting enough love.
DJ was my disappointment players, and if we did this before the season, I wouldn't have put him here because I didn't have much expectation for him. But then he started looking decent. The Giants looked like a competitive team, and then it just became a shit show. So now he made my most disappointing players.
Devin Singletary, I didn't put him, but Devin Singletary's been incredibly disappointing. I thought that coming off his year last year in Houston, he was very good. And I know I exaggerate, but he was very good in Houston. And I picked him in several leagues in fantasy football because I thought he was going to come over here and not be Saquon, but he can receive, he can run, he's going to do a little bit of everything. And then you don't have the best receivers in football, so you're going to use him a lot. And he was looking decent, and then he goes down one time and just loses his job to a 4th-round rookie that was a receiver in college.
Yep.
Do you want to go to disappointing players first?
I'll do surprising teams. Yeah, my impressive teams. I'll just name them all off. I had the Steelers, obviously. Yeah, I had the Broncos. They were 5-3 prior to this game against the Ravens, where they just got smacked. You're still 5-4 in the mix for getting to a playoff spot. I have the Commanders, obviously, and I have the Minnesota Vikings, and the Arizona Cardinals. I have there as well. I had so many fucking teams. Yeah,
I only did 3, and you named 3 of them. So I had the Vikings, the Commanders, and the Steelers.
Okay. Disappointing players.
I should have mentioned the Broncos because I picked them to win like 3 games and be the worst team in football.
I picked the Vikings to win 2 games, and you see, I had them on surprising, but I'm the hater. But he didn't. Continue. The most disappointing players this season.
No, we're not even gonna talk about impressive.
Impressive players?
Y'all are impressive. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are. We're gonna just keep it stepping.
Disappointing players. I had DJ, and like I said before, if this was prior to the season, I would not.
The Steelers were projected to be the worst team in the division, and they're the best. How are we not going to talk about it?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Get your spiel off about the Steelers. Get your spiel off about the Steelers.
I don't want to.
DJ, I had Charvarius Ward, I had Roquan Smith, and I have Sauce Gardner.
I ain't doing no defense. I don't give a damn about defense.
Oh yeah, I just realized 3 to 4 players were on defense. Go ahead.
I don't give a damn about defense. What can you do for me offensively?
Go ahead. Who you have?
And those guys ain't doing nothing, especially Fred Warner. He ain't running the ball. But you know who is running the ball? Trayvon Walker. Go ahead, put him at running back. Go ahead. Go watch his interception or his fumble recovery, whatever they ended up calling it, and watch him run that bitch back for a touchdown.
Trevor,
because he ran over like 3 guys.
Are you gonna say Travis Etienne? That's a great one. If you have Travis Etienne.
Disappointing players. Oh my gosh, I'm an absolute moron. I put disappointing with all of my. What did I do here? Oh, I'm just dumb now. I definitely have Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
I have CJ Stroud. I have Travis Etienne. I have Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman, and Sam Laporta.
The Tyreek Hill one is kind of, wasn't necessarily his fault. Yeah, you're still Tyreek Hill, but I just don't think you can put all the blame on him. I definitely thought about him, but I was like, I'll give him a pass.
I'm not saying you can put all the blame on him, but going from Tyreek Hill to Rondale Moore just because you don't have Tua anymore. Yeah. He's been ass. He's been heavily ass. Yeah, and I refuse to allow you to say Tyler Huntley's the worst in the world. Yeah, he's a bum, but he's not Skylar Thompson. You could have still put up numbers with him, but he didn't. Sam Laporta isn't his fault because they just don't need him. They
just don't need any receiver or anything. They're just up by so many points they don't have to throw the ball after the second quarter.
Michael Pittman, he's my number one. I know Travis Etienne has been horrid, but Michael Pittman is my number one because in the offseason, he was saying he wanted to be viewed as an upper echelon guy with I don't know if he was considering himself like a Justin or a Jamar Chase, but he wanted to be up there with the top 10. And he's not even the guy on his team anymore. They throw it to Alec Pierce more than you, Michael. They don't consider, and yeah, he's got his back issues going on, and they were saying he might go to IR. But if you're playing through it, you're playing through it. That's your own damn fault.
Yeah, if you're on the field, you're good to go. There's no excuse if you're on the field. But no, definitely, I feel.
And CJ Stroud.
Yep.
I had CJ Stroud top 10 quarterback several times throughout the season, and he's not having the worst season of all time. But as I said, 20 minutes ago, I had him for my number 2 in MVP, and their line is bad.
Yeah.
And his receivers have been hurt. But he had 86 yards a couple weeks ago, and he was 11 for 35 this week. He's just been.
And I don't think it's kind of like what you said. I don't think this is just because CJ Stroud is having such an awful season. Yeah, this offense hasn't been what you thought it was going to be, but it's more so what people projected and what we thought CJ Stroud and this Texans offense would be coming into the season. It's not just because CJ's just been so awful, like I said, but that offensive line is doing him no favors. So I really can't put too much on him. But yeah, no, definitely for what I thought he would be coming into the season, I could see why you had him as a disappointment.
And in one season, Travis Etienne went from a top 5 guy to
my goodness,
65 guy.
Most surprising, most impressive players this season. Like I said, I didn't order these, but at number 1. Sam Darnold.
Is it the quarterback?
Sam Darnold.
Oh.
Sam Darnold.
See, some of us just expected it, so I can't even say it's impressive. When Sam Howell comes back and is inevitably just top 7 quarterback in the league, I won't be impressed because I just expected it.
Sam Darnold. Another guy I had was Joe Mixon. I always thought Joe Mixon was wildly overrated. I never thought he was just that great of a running back, but
I always thought he was wildly underrated.
He went over there to Houston, and you see what he's done. You see what he's done behind that offensive line we just called putrid. He's putting up numbers every time he's on the field. Early in the season, he was keeping the Texans in games they were winning because of him. So I had Joe Mixon on this list. And I had them as a tandem. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. They deserve the love, man. Both the quarterbacks, for what we said about Russell, not even that Russell Wilson was going to be bad, but I just didn't expect him to look like this, show flashes of the Russ of old. And for Justin Fields to step in there when your quarterback was out, for what everybody thought about you, to lead your team to, what was it, a 4-2 record, you were 3-0 at one point, to when you're playing the Colts and the defense didn't step up, you played the best game of your season. So I just wanted to give a surprising, my impressive vote, whatever you want to call it, to Justin Fields and Russell Wilson.
That's a good one.
They're holding up that trophy together. And Justin Fields is still smiling because he's just that great of a teammate, that great of a guy, even though he's not the starter anymore.
I had a duo. A rookie and his number 1 guy on a team that wasn't expected to be shit. I think team that's one of the best in the NFC.
I had the quarterback written down, but not the duo. I just didn't mention him because I figured you would have him.
He was drafted. He won Heisman, and people knew he was going to be able to run the ball. And the question was like, how's he going to be look when he throws it? And he has a 72% completion percentage. Mm-hmm. He's making deep balls. He's making medium range throws. He's making the checkdowns. Mm-hmm. He's doing whatever he wants. And this is the first time in... We're talking about Jaden Daniels for anybody who didn't put it together. This is the first time in Terry McLaurin's career where he's had a guy who can get him the ball. And people are finally seeing, The Rock! I'm sorry. Okay. This is the first time people have really understood how good Terry McLaurin is. And it makes me so happy. Another guy I had is the Offensive Player of the Year. Derrick Henry was kind of just thrown away in Tennessee, and he was always that guy over there, but they just didn't really think they needed him anymore, I guess. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I had James Cook as well because, Josh Allen's that guy, and the Bills have been good, but it's been very much so because of James Cook. He's been lovely over there. My last guy was a guy who went over to play with Kirk O'Chains to swag surf after games.
Darnell Mooney.
It's Darnell Mooney.
That's a really good pick. Darnell Mooney. Yeah, I like that. But
we should have honorable mention to Wan'Dale Robinson.
Unless you didn't have any random superlatives you wanted to throw out there. No. No.
I mean, do you got some?
No. That's what I was asking. But that's it for the award show. Yeah, I will definitely come with more for the end of the season one. That one will actually be dressed up. Suit and tie, dress shoes. We're not gonna wear the top.
As long as I got my suit and tie.
All right, but before we get out of here, as always, Smallz, you got your top 10 quarterback list. Go ahead, man.
Victor Wembanyama had 9 blocks tonight. So last week I had a 10.
Hey, now that you brought up basketball, man, I just wanna. The Los Angeles Lakers. Way to ruin my fucking money line slip so quick into the fucking day. Way to ruin it so quick. The Detroit Pistons? Are we serious? Chicago. Should I just start betting on the Nets now? Because the Nets are just fucking
those are both teams your fault.
Being fucking close in games. Oh no. It wasn't the Bulls lost to Utah. I think that's Utah's first win of the season, by the way. Chicago, what are we doing?
That's bad.
The Nets beat the motherfucking Memphis Grizzlies. If the Nets beat the Bulls, the Bulls aren't a good team. But the Grizzlies, Pelicans, I know you're going through injury. But
ain't no way you bet on the Pelicans, bro.
Y'all don't have enough to beat the Portland Trailblazers?
No. They got Zion, and that's it. Name me their starting 5.
Jordan Hawkins.
I bet you can't do it.
Jordan Hawkins.
Who's starting at the 1?
It's not Jordan Hawkins. Move on.
You're right, it's Jordan Hawkins.
Bro, move on. Jordan Hawkins, Zion, Yves Messi, whatever his name is.
Bro, please tell me you didn't bet on the Pelicans thinking they were going to win today.
Yeah, I thought they would beat the fucking Trailblazers. It didn't even fucking matter because you got the fucking
Jeremiah Robinson Earl played 34 minutes.
We're not an NBA podcast.
Boston played 37 minutes, Herlins. No, they don't have enough to beat the Trailblazers.
But the Lakers had enough to beat the Pistons. The Grizzlies had enough to beat the Nets.
The Pistons are 3-1 in their last 4. Cade Cunningham, bro. Why the fuck we talk about the?
We're not a basketball fucking podcast. You brought it up with fucking Wemby.
I just wanted to shout out Wemby real quick. He had 9 blocks. That's nuts. And then you want to talk about your parlay that weak as hell betting on Brandon Boston playing 37 minutes. That's nuts. Quarterback rankings. Last week, I had Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, C.J. Stroud, Jared Goff, Geno Smith, and Kirk Cousins, and he's not paying attention to me anymore because he's looking at his goddamn parlay. Week 9, quarterback rankings. This is based solely on this season. It's not based on your name. It doesn't matter if your name's LeBron James because it's not. You're not in the NBA. It's solely on what you've done this year. Mm-hmm. At number 10, I have a guy who I absolutely adore. He's about 5'6". What you doing? He's about 5'6". Does whatever he wants out there and wins games. Kyler Murray.
Okay.
First appearance on the list this year.
Happy to see him there.
Number 9 gonna make you happy, like real happy, like real happy. At number 9, I got Derek Carr. I'm just kidding. At number 9, I got Justin Herbert.
Hell yeah, man. My fucking quarterback, man. You know, like I said, the Niners were on bye this week, so the Chargers were my team. Went out there and smacked the Browns. Justin Herbert's been having such an under-the-radar good season. He didn't really do much early in the season, but that's because they were really relying on the run game. And when they've turned to Justin Herbert and said, you know what, we're going to win games through you, he's been doing it and then some. Go ahead.
At number 8, I have the best quarterback in his division, the second best quarterback in football.
Brock Purdy.
Patrick Mahomes.
I think this is where Patrick Mahomes starts to move back up into it. Yeah.
Yep.
Into his regular spot.
He got hurt today. That was kind of scary. I don't know if you... Because it looked like he hyperextended his knee.
Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, it's never as bad as what it looks. Bro, I don't know if he's flopping or it's never as bad as what it looks.
The ones that they look terrible,
because
bro.
there's the one where he had a quarterback sneak on the goal line and somebody fell on his leg and he hyperextended his knee. And he was good. He was good. He had the ankle injury in the playoffs a couple seasons back, and he was good. It seems like whatever injury he has, it seems like it's never as bad as what it looks. Go on.
I'm so upset I wore the damn Saints jersey today. What was I thinking?
Why? I told you.
I just love Olave so much. At number 7, I have the swag surfer himself, Kirk O'Chains. Kirk Cousins.
Man, my Atlanta Falcons. How many
teams you a fan of?
I could be a fan of all fucking 32 and I don't want to hear shit from you. Yeah, put your fucking head down. Kirk Cousins, man. I love what I'm seeing from him. After that first game, it was a little shaky. Like, oh man, did Kirk Cousins lose it? You know, did that Achilles injury really just take away Kirk Cousins from us? But no. The Falcons look like they're gonna win this division. They already beat second place 2 times. They're 6-3 now, man. Go Dirty Birds.
At number 6, I have a guy who deserves so much love for pushing the Kansas City Chiefs to overtime tonight. He did everything he could with Cade Otton. Unfortunately, fell a little bit short. We didn't talk about Monday Night Football at all. They should have went for it on when they scored.
Yeah. You don't go to overtime with Patrick Mahomes.
Win the game. You don't go to overtime with Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. We kind of bogus. We should always talk about Monday Night Football.
Chris Jones is such a clutch player. You don't go to overtime with him either. He's so clutch. But yeah.
And I lost in the fantasy league. I was up 1, and I was like, yes, the Chiefs ain't getting the ball back. Travis Kelce got the ball back. Travis Kelce. Mm-hmm. And anyways. At number 5, I got a guy who you glazed the hell out of. He is a guy that is very talented, but just unfortunately isn't asked very much. Pretty much every other quarterback in the league could play his role. I got Jared Goff.
That's so crazy. Jared Goff, we're going to have you on the show soon, and I'm just going to replay that clip for you.
I'm just kidding. I'm not even a Jared Goff hater. I had to give him a little slander because you love him so much. Jared Goff has been doing his thing, though. Since he got to Detroit, he loves the city. The city loves him, and I'm happy that he found a home after the Rams just kind of kicked him to the curb.
Absolutely. So that was number 5 or 6?
That was number 5.
All right. So Jared Goff's in the top 5, but what was he last week, I think? Because I remember saying
Jared Goff was number 8 last week.
Okay, yeah, because I remember saying he should at least be in the top 5. So yeah, I like that. Go ahead.
At number 4, you didn't even notice who fell out. At number 4, I have Jaden Daniels.
I don't. Jaden he was 3. So Jaden's been progressively falling, but I think it's just the quarterbacks have been just playing out of their mind. I don't think it's because he's been getting worse. I think the quarterbacks are just looking good.
At number 3, I got Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He's elite. At number 2, I have Joseph Burrow. You locked in on something else over there, brother. At number
No,
1, I got
I'm
Lamar
listening.
Jackson, the best quarterback in football, the best quarterback in the league, the best player in the league, this year's MVP. Doing it without his Mark Andrews ain't even been there really, and he's still just like by far ain't nobody touching him. It's just, he wake up in the morning and piss his excellence. He's just there's nobody else close to him. He's the LeBron James of football.
I will say Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, but Lamar Jackson I think is just, and not to say I'm not gonna go as far as to say he's in the wrong era, but Lamar Jackson is literally going to go down as probably one of the top 15 quarterbacks to ever play, but it's going to be like he lived through the Patrick Mahomes era. So I just hope Lamar can get a couple Super Bowls in, because I don't want to see him, like it's just Patrick Mahomes took them all. You just never had your chance. And then you have to deal with Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. So I hope he doesn't end up like that, where it's like he never got his one because, he just had to deal with Patrick Mahomes in his conference all.
You saying you're going to have to go to the Warriors to get his, like Kevin?
See, I was thinking about that once I said, once you said like Kevin, but no, Lamar I think is a Raven for life. But I'm just hoping he can
get it on his body.
I'm hoping he can get his one, because I just don't, like I said, like there's a few. I think Pat, Lamar, and Josh Allen, by the time they're retired, will end up as top like 15-ish quarterbacks to ever play. Especially Lamar Jackson, man. He is like
everybody is Lamar until Lamar show up. And then it's like, oh
Patrick
shit,
Mahomes is still the best in the league, but Lamar Jackson he's different.
Patrick Mahomes was the best in the league, but Lamar Jackson is just different.
Go ahead and close us out, man. Go ahead and close us out. Close us the hell out.
We didn't talk about it. We'll talk about it a little bit more on next week's episode. We always do our pick'ems, not our pick'ems, our fantasy 4-man. And Herlin started off up 2-0 and is on a 5-game losing streak. I won again this week. I'm up 5-2.
Shout out Frosty.
I beat him by like 15. Shout out Frosty, but that's our guy. He been going through it, bro. He at me like every time they do something.
Every week, the Saints do it again. Saints are bad. Like, yeah, they are ass. They are ass.
We love you though, brother. If you got to this point, you had to have enjoyed something, so leave us a like. We already mentioned it. Leave us a comment. We appreciate y'all. We've said it all the time. We're going to continue to appreciate y'all. Show us some love on the short form content. It'll be back this week because I'm back. This man can't post it because he'd just be too busy, apparently. With that said, we out of here. Love y'all.
Peace.